Hi guys, can you see me? I hope this is working now. Am I here? Hi everyone, sorry about that. Hey, hi Lacey. Hi Susie. Hi Crystal. Hi John. I'm sorry about that. My computer just did not want to behave. Let me just scroll back. Hey October, good to see you. All right, so let's get started. Before we get started, does anybody have any questions before I start? I just scrolled back. Don't worry if you don't know much about the cards. There's plenty of information in the videos. You can go back to the past couple. And if you join the Facebook group, I also add supplemental information throughout the week there. The link is in the description. So let's get started tonight, guys. We are going to be talking about the Hierophant and the Lovers card today. So, oh gosh, this glare is brutal on my glasses. So let's look at the Hierophant card first. The Hierophant reminds me of the Pope, and it is often called the Pope card. This is number 5 of the Major Arcana. Last week, if you were here, we talked about the Emperor. And the Emperor card, or the Emperor, yes, the Emperor is a card that has to do with governing worldly things. So think government institutions. I apologize. My comments are a little lagging, so I will catch up with you if you write a comment or ask a question. I'll get to you. It's just lagging a little bit. So the Emperor card was government or worldly institutions. So think courts, law and order, that type of thing. The Hierophant is still structure and authority, but he has authority on a spiritual level. So the key words for this are tradition, structure, teacher, mentor, counselor, religion. Let me know if I'm going too fast. And also, guys, if you come to the Facebook group and ask me for a copy of the notes, I will give you a copy of these notes for the video. So you don't have to be like writing down really quickly while I'm talking. So also philosophy and morality have to do with this card. There's a lot of symbolism in this card. We see a lot of gray, which we have not seen in the past few cards. This is the first time we see this gray background. Gray stands for the perfect balance between two pairs of opposites. So think of black and white. Gray is kind of the balance between the two, right? So this is the perfect balance here. Okay, that's the first thing we see in this card. Now let's look at the pillars themselves. Unlike remember, if you hear, the High Priestess card had a veil behind the pillars. This one does not. This is open between the pillars. So that indicates open knowledge, free exchange of knowledge. This isn't a hidden secret knowledge. This is a very open knowledge that he's willing to share. Then we look at the symbols. This is interesting. If you look at these symbols, some say they look like a uterus. Some say they look like a phallic symbol. I think they look like a uterus. What do you guys think? What does that look like to you? A phallic symbol or a uterus? I'm really bad at holding things up to the camera. Sorry, guys. Lesson learned. You can't refresh when you're in StreamYard broadcast studio. So I think those look like the uterus. Then if we look at his crown, he has a papal crown. Which signifies spiritual authority, because he's got that papal tiara or crown like the Pope has. Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? You just taking it in? Now we're going to look at the monk's clothes. We've seen some of these symbols in previous cards. There are red roses, which symbolize passion, human passion, right? And we also see white flowers, which symbolize purity. So there's a lot of symbolism going on in this card. Yellow flowers, or rather, not flowers. The yellow, on the monk's tunics symbolize intellectual perception and self-expression. Okay, can somebody just comment in the comments so that I can make sure that you guys are still with me? Okay, you are taking notes. Okay, good. I wasn't sure if you were still here or what was going on. Okay, so the yellow symbolizes self-expression. There's a lot of notes. Like I have four pages of notes. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to leave some of it out, and I'll have this available, like I said. The red robe of the Hierophant symbolizes strength, symbolizes physicality, latent powers, and energies in reserve. There's a lot. Some cards don't have too much. The Lover's card we'll see next doesn't have that much symbolism. So the white on the people or on the Hierophant's robe, the accents symbolize the inner voice or inner knowing. Divine knowledge, which we saw in the, oh my gosh, now that was the High Priestess. So we're seeing the white colors again. And if we look real close to on the robe, we can see ever so slightly there's blue under the collar. We also saw that in the, oh, somebody help me. Is that the High Priestess card? I believe it is. Yes, it's the High Priestess. The High Priestess card also has that blue, right? And we often associate the High Priestess with the Mother Mary. Sometimes we will say that the High Priestess card can be associated with the Mother Mary because it also has the crescent moon. So the color blue in this card has a spiritual connotation to it as well. It also suggests purity and transcendence. I know that's a whole bunch for this card. The Hierophant's main message to us is to make the most out of our gifts. And he also tells us that there are laws that are already established, and we need to stay within the boundaries of those laws. The way my first tarot teacher taught me to remember this card was she said, the Hierophant tells us to obey the laws, stay within the lines, and obey the traffic laws. If you swerve out, you're going to get a ticket. So he's telling us that we have to obey. Remember last week when we talked about the Emperor was very concrete, had that authority, wanted us to obey direction, but also had that part of him that was a little bit of a rebel. Not with the Hierophant. The Hierophant wants us to obey that law, is very strict with the religious dogma, the spirituality, the morality. We need to stay within those lines, okay? So it's a different message coming to us. And that happens a lot with religion. They want us to stay within the lines, right? Which is why a lot of us left organized religion as most people know it, right? Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to take a break a minute, let you guys catch up on the writing, and see if anybody has any questions. You're all awful quiet. Yes, stay in your own lane. Don't swerve into somebody else's. I love the spiritual connection with this card. I don't think the gender is symbolic in the cards. There are, we'll see some decks where, in fact, I was looking for this one. The Hierophant in this deck that I was going to show in a couple of minutes, Crystal. This is the Hierophant from the Modern Witch deck. the Hierophant, and I don't think that she's any less, she has any less authority. I think the gender is pretty fluid. I mean, male or female, it's the same message. And I think for most of the cards in general in the tarot, it can be either or. Yes, Susie, exactly. The gender is neutral. We see in a lot of decks that the genders flip. So let me, now that we're talking about gender in different decks, let me show you some of these different decks. Normally, those of you that haven't been here before, first of all, welcome. Normally I do this whole thing in the beginning, but because I was late, I jumped right in. So welcome to the channel. I appreciate you coming. Thank you for being here. And those of you that are back, hey guys. So the deck that I start with every week is the General RSW Rider-Waite Tarot. So that's this one, Standard Rider-Waite. And then I have 5 or 6 other decks that I will show you cards from throughout the lesson. Those decks are listed in the description below. And throughout the week, if you're interested and you join the Facebook group, throughout the week, I will add different examples of the cards we're learning about in the group. So you can see other examples and we'll talk about them in the group. So that's just an added bonus. So this is my favorite deck that most of you know. This is my absolute favorite deck. This is the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann. And this is her Hierophant. I never know how you really pronounce it. This is the card from that deck. Beautiful. He's happy. He's connected to the universe. There's not a lot of symbolism in this card. And I think that the message gets through okay. What do you guys think? Do you think that spiritual connection shows there? Or do you think that it's lacking some of the connection because it doesn't have the rigidity that this one has? Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that. So that was that one. And I showed you the Modern Witch, which is another great deck, but I'll show you. Yeah, it's like a Zen moment, right? So it's all there, right? That's the way I feel. It's a Zen moment. So kind of covers it for me. I don't think I need much more than Zen, personally. I know some people need more than that, but I don't think so. Maybe for the organized part of it, because it is referring to a religion that already exists and is established, but it's more connecting to the spiritual world where we meet. Thank you, Crystal. This card is not so much, it's connecting us to the spiritual world where we meet our mentor and teacher. Okay, so easy. Yes, nice and simple, October, exactly. So then this was the Hierophant from the Modern Witch. It has the same, she has the same colors in her clothing as the Hierophant in the first one. The pillars are the same colors. And there are people beneath her who are her students. So it has some of the same imagery in it. She's got the tiara on her head, and instead of the roses being on her robe, it's on her tiara. So that's a little different take on it. Again, a simpler interpretation. Then there's this is the A.E Waite Tarot deck, and it's just a holographic version of the Rider Waite deck. That's the only difference between this one and this one, is the holographic on it. So we went over that already. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite. And then the Cat Tarot. I love this one. The Hierophant from the Cat Tarot is kind of cool because he looks a little mysterious. Black cats are a catalyst to the spiritual world. And it's definitely a different take on it. I'm going to read you what this one has to say. The book is usually interesting in this deck. So for this one, it says, the Hierophant or High Priest is associated with Odin, the one-eyed god of wisdom and prophecy, and his raven companions. The wise elder always follows the rules. Sometimes he even makes them. But what about the rules that are meant to be broken? The counters meant to be jumped on, the upholstery meant to be clawed. Sometimes it's okay to turn a blind eye. So this is a different take on the Hierophant. I like that one. Oh, and this one, if you have little eyes, now would be a good time to turn them away. And I'll give you a minute to do that. This deck is the Tarot of Sexual Magic. So, oops. Okay, are we good? These cards haven't been that bad up until this week. This week it's starting to get a little bit more risque. So I'm going to flash it once and then I'm going to put it down. So you're going to have to do your best to... This is the card. So that's the Hierophant in this deck. So he definitely has his students, so to speak. He's got his red robe on to signify power. He's got his scepter. The pillars are gone, though, so that's different in this deck. But he seems to be all-knowing, so he's definitely a figure of authority. So, do we have any questions on the Hierophant before I move on to the Lovers? Okay. The Lover is really a simpler card, and we'll be able to go through it a lot quicker than the Hierophant. So when we think of the Lover card in general, if I can find my traditional one, I don't know what I did with it. Oh, I'm staring at it. Okay. When we think of the traditional Lovers card, we think of, or at least I do, I think of a relationship. I think of a soulmate. When I hear the word lovers, I immediately think of relationship. I think of soulmate. And I think that is pretty normal for us to do. But with the Lovers card, it's not always going to be a romantic relationship. It's duality. But it could be duality within yourself. So it could be a reconciliation of two parts of yourself. The card doesn't always have to do with love of others. It could be love of a business partner. It could be love of a friend. It doesn't always have to be that romantic love. But it is love in relationships. Maturity and decisions are the key words. Duality, like I said, yin yang, male, female, left, right brain. So when we're thinking of the reconciliation within ourselves, think of left, right brain issues. So the Lover's card features a naked man and woman standing across from each other. The woman appears under an apple tree with a snake, evolving from the Garden of Eden. The man stands before a tree and 12 trefoil flames, which represent the 12 zodiac signs and the fiery passion that shapes his destiny. So above the figures is the Archangel Raphael, that's the Archangel Raphael who looks down upon them and blesses them. The element of air is associated with this card. We see the clouds, it's the element air. There is also a pillar. Wait a minute, there's no pillar in this. There's no pillar in this card. Sorry, guys. Wow, I was rushing and wrote something without reading it. Good night, Susie. Merry meet. So let me see. In the background, we see a mountain. We see the trees on either side and a river, which represents femininity. We saw the river in one of the cards last week as well. And it symbolized the life force. So the lovers depict a union between two opposing forces, or that moment, that blissful moment of a first kiss right before the moment is snapped away from you. Okay, think of that blissful moment and then it's gone. That's what the Lover's card is. So the Lover's card can indicate that you are someone who makes decisions by dealing with your emotions and your heart and not thinking things through. Or it can be a sign that you are in a crossroads in your life, and the next decision you make in your life is going to be an extremely important one, if you're pulling the card in a reading for yourself. Okay? When you're pulling this card in a reading, though, if it's love, money, health, or home, any situation, love, money, health, home, it's generally a Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate it. It's generally a positive situation. So in love, if you're seeing a new partner, what you need to do is think about, does this partner have characteristics that your old lover did not? Because if they do, it's going to be a positive thing. If they have similar characteristics to your old partner, then it might not be. In home, this is an ideal time. Like in home life, this is an ideal time for you to be looking for your dream home if this card comes up. Okay? In career, be careful you are not looking for the easy way out. When this card is around, the lovers, I know it sounds weird, but this card reminds us that all good things are worth taking the time to do the right way and to put the work into. So in career, don't take the easy way out or what you think is the easy way out. So that is the Lovers card. I told you it would be a lot quicker than the Hierophant card was. Cheryl, the readings are tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Oh, thank you, Crystal. This is the tarot study course. So we are just going to go through the lovers cards for the different decks, and then if anybody has any questions, we'll go through those. And I realized that I forgot to show you guys the Hierophant for the Game of Thrones deck, so I'll show you that first. This was the Game of Thrones deck. And the spiritual leader, that makes sense for this one. So now we'll just stay with this deck and go to the lovers in the Game of Thrones deck. Perfect couple for lovers. Right? So we see they're together. They're not spaced apart. There's no trees, no snake, no Garden of Eden with them. They're just together. This is a soulmate type lovers card. So if you were to pull this card for somebody in a reading, you would really need to focus on the cards beside this card to figure out whether it was a soulmate situation or it was something else. Because if you pulled this card alone, I would be inclined to say immediately it was a soulmate or romantic relationship, but it might not be, depending on where the cards fall or what cards fall next to it. So just keep that in mind, that when you see the lovers card, pay attention to the cards that are around it as well. It will give you hints to what the lovers card is actually saying in that reading. So how cute is this? Look at the lovers card in the cat tarot. Oh my gosh, for those of you that have been in the Facebook group this week, I cannot wait to look for the white cat. What is it? It's the tarot of the white cat. Those cat tarot cards are cracking me up. I can't wait to see what the lovers look like in that deck. But this one is adorable. How cute are they? That could be like friends, mom and daughter. They're just chilling, loving on each other. The lovers in the Light Seers deck. This is the Light Seers deck. Beautiful. I love this card. Simple. Now the lovers in the Modern Witch Tarot is very much like the lovers in the original Rider Waite, which surprises me a little bit that some of the other ones weren't as close to the Rider Waite as the Modern Witches. But instead of the angel Raphael, we have this other cool looking angel there. And because it is the Modern Witch Tarot deck, we have an interracial couple there, which is wonderful. That's why I love this deck. I know, Crystal, right? I love the cat tarot. I want to put all the tarot cards I pull for the week, I want them all to be cats. You know, I looked for a dog tarot deck, and I had a really hard time finding one. It's like witches like cats. Not that we don't like dogs, but there were a lot more cat decks than I could find dog decks. So this is the holographic Lovers card. Traditional Rider-Waite again. And we have Avert Those Children's Eyes again. The Tarot of Sexual Magic. Actually, the Lovers card isn't as bad as the other one was for this one. I'm surprised. This is the Lovers card for this one. So I think the Lovers card pretty much stayed to form, that they all pretty much depict a romantic relationship. So let's remember to look at the other cards around them. I'll be curious to see tomorrow when I start going through more decks and looking at different cards online to put in the group to see what other interpretations of the Lover cards we do get. So it will be interesting to see what I come up with. I will be putting those in the group as I did the last couple of weeks. If you watch this video live or on the replay and you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give me a like. If you enjoyed this and want to subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. If you're looking for a reading and came here by mistake, tomorrow night, Tuesday at 8 p.m., I will be doing live readings, so you can come back then and get on the list for a reading. Those of you that were here tonight, I appreciate you being with me, as always. And I think we are going to wrap it up. Does anybody have any questions before we do wrap it up for the night? Questions or comments? If you think of any, or you're watching the replay and have a question or a comment, you can always drop it in the comments, and I will come back to check out the video and look for comments throughout the week. Good night, Crystal. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Oh, thank you, October. My pleasure. I'll talk to you soon, sweetie. I hope you're having a better night. All right, guys. Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining me. And I will speak to you all soon. Be well and have a wonderful week. Bye, guys.